Hey, Mediocre Gamer fam, how's it going? How are you doing? It is I, Anthony Ellie. I'm here with my best friend in the world, AJ. AJ, how are you, AJ?
I'm doing great as always. Just got off work. It's what a Tuesday today, so we're
It
early
is a
on in the week.
Tuesday,
Yeah, so I mean it's
Tuesday, Wednesday, one of those days. I've lost track of my days. I've tried really hard, and like I gave up.
yeah. I gave up on a lot a long time ago. Man, I sound old saying that, but I'm like almost.
Listen, fam, samesies. Oh my goodness! Shout out to the age on the pod. I don't know. Could we censor the age? Because censoring ages is hilarious.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm super down.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's how old we are. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Today we have something that is near and dear to all of our little gamer hearts. Live service games, specifically the Suicide Squad game, and how that game is indicative of a very, very noticeable trend in gaming right now, which is live service games.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the Suicide Squad game is an odd case because it's a game that should not have been live service. I mean, like definitely like cool some online elements like online co-op and stuff like that, but shouldn't have been as focused with live service as it is, and I think it's really showing the detriment of it since the player count has dropped so drastically since it came out.
About 80%.
Yeah,
And
I
even
sounds like
at its
less than a
peak,
thousand. I think I could be wrong. I'll have it up, but
something like that, and even at its peak is like under 100,000, which is not, that's not the number. I mean, at this point in the game, Warner Brothers has already come out and said that it underperformed. That doesn't mean that they're abandoning it. That is important. This is important. So there is time. There are people working on it. Rocksteady Studios is not the single player studio that we know it to be. They are now a live service support studio for a game that I don't like. However, I do hope they succeed, because maybe, just maybe, that could lead us to another single player experience.
and that's something I do want to touch on. There is they are primarily a single player gaming experience, and I think this was meant to be a story driven, maybe single player, maybe just like 4-person co-op, but like story experience that you go through. Maybe some post game stuff, but and whatever. But I feel like that was the initial purpose behind it because I think something like that would succeed very well. The reason why I say that is because this feels like a half-baked product, and that's not like Rocksteady to make a half-baked product. So I believe, and again, this isn't proven, but I believe that this is a product of corporate coming in and saying, oh, no, live service will make us way more money. Look at Fortnite, how much money they make on cosmetics. People keep coming back. Look at Destiny. Look at all these games. We're going to make that and make millions. So then they forced them to change halfway through development like we see all the time, and we have Suicide Squad now.
Yeah, and here's the thing about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, because you tapped on a very specific point, which is I don't know if this is the game that we thought we were. I mean, it's not the game they told us we were getting, right? They told us like, hey, listen. Well, first of all, let's rewind the clock just a little bit further, because they didn't want us to know it was a live service game until it got leaked. And then they were just like, now we just got to bite the bullet. And so they were like, hey, listen, it's a live service game, but we're still focusing on the story. And at that stage in the game, we had no reason to not give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just an unfortunate situation, because all of the movement feels really good, so to speak, right? It's like reminiscent of Sunset Overdrive in a lot of the ways the movement works and the way that just the colors are kind of popping. Like, and plus it's not a bad looking game. I mean, there are UI problems we can definitely speak to, but it doesn't look bad is the point, and it sucks that it didn't come together.
And see, that's the thing. That's why I feel like it was changed halfway through. Because the movement's great. You had to have the movement before you really can decide. Like you can make that character movement well before you decide what kind of game it's going to be in the end. So it felt like this was movement for an open world game where you can, maybe not open world, but like an open city or open area where you can, and it kind of is open area, but it's linear as heck. But you have this fun movement. You could jump across building to building, go across, do your thing. And that's where it feels like, it still fits within it, but it feels like it was changed partway through. And like the UI, right? Like the standard UI is fine. Really what looks horrible is like the clusterfuck of damage numbers that come up.
Are you
Like
telling me you
it's
don't
a
want to know that this one bullet in this fully automatic rifle did 9 points of damage? Are you really telling me that that isn't relevant to your gameplay experience, AJ? And so when you just, it's just numbers everywhere. All you don't want that? Is that what you say you don't
no,
want?
no. And you know, it's funny. I say that because I don't mind it in Borderlands. I think it's fine there. It is a lot sometimes,
It's also
but
done better
it's
in
done
Borderlands.
better. Yes, it even looks cleaner. Because on top of that, you have all this visual throw up that's on in this game with all these explosions and stuff, special effects going on. Whereas Borderlands, like, yeah, there is some, but it's way cleaner, way tighter. It makes a lot more sense versus just like shit going on.
Yeah,
Um,
it feels like the experience you're supposed to have versus
mm-hmm.
like, why is there a 7 for every bullet?
Yeah, exactly, exactly, and that's why, like, again, I feel like this was corporate coming in halfway through because everything is like the base is there, like the setup is solid, and then everything on top is just a mess, and it just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, even the characters, right? Like the characters are well done. You know, the individual characters' personalities are well thought out, and those are things you do at the base level. You know, you figure those out. But then, and granted, you have the comics to go off of, so that helps a lot. But I digress. Then you have the story. And again, the base of the story, which is, again, following the comics, but the base of the story is fantastic. Um,
It's a fun idea, yeah.
oh, yes.
There
And
are certain story beats that the entire internet kind of hates, but I mean, it is what it is. So I mean, the internet hates everything. But no, the idea is really fun, and yeah, like you were saying, the way the different characters are bouncing off each other, really fun. Their
mm-hmm.
interactions with the Justice League as they're possessed by Brainiac, very fun.
Oh, yeah. They're great. And they're like their fights, their banter, and stuff like that. Fantastic. But then you get to, like, the combat. The enemies are boring. They're horrible. There's only 3 enemy types, which is ridiculous.
It's
Uh,
bewildering.
yeah, that's so bad. I mean, if you look at a Mario game, you'll have seven enemy types in each world. Like, you know, shoot, you might have more.
Yeah.
You know, like you're gonna have tons of variety, and they're like so creative. Like none of them are even based on, like, not none. A lot of them aren't even based on real things. Like they're completely
Mhm.
made up. Like that is peak creativity. Whereas like Suicide Squad, you just have like a dude that has purple acne and he has a machine gun. That's his thing. Like, you
Mhm.
know, like
That's
that's
his
it.
thing.
Yeah. I
And so that brings us to our greater point of, well, our greatest point, this is why we've kind of friends, is like, hey, stop making live service games. At the same time that Suicide Squad was actually on fire, Pal World was on fire. Yes, that's a multiplayer experience you can experience with friends, but it's
Mhm.
designed with one person in mind. And there are a lot of cool single player experiences like becoming more popular. Dragon's Dogma 2 is on the way at this point. But we said all that to say that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League isn't unsalvageable. It's just shitty right now.
Yes, yes. And I think there's some things we can do to fix it. You know, I think a really good example of that is we can have some more diverse levels. You know, the levels right now, a good chunk of them are escort missions, which everyone hates. No one enjoys them. They're horrible. You know, there's I don't remember exactly how many. I never beat it. Whatever. There's the how many chapters in total are in the low teens, like 12 to 15, somewhere in there. And it was like I think
Something like
8
that.
of them are like the bulk of it is an escort mission.
Two
That's
thirds of the missions in game are roughly escort
that's
missions.
bad. And I know it's not like your generic where you're just following them. You know, there is like, you know, it's the car moving on, you're hopping from building to building, killing stuff. So you know, it's not like bad, but I mean, still, we're locked to following and defending this point. Like it's,
I never thought I would see the day that I would hear you be like, I understand an escort mission. Wow. We are, see, I need y'all to understand, we are really trying to give this game a lot of leeway because, again, it's not that it's a bad game, it's just executed poorly.
mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, another example is with the UI. Like we said earlier, it's bad, and I think if we clean that UI up, it'll be good. Between, you know, menus, your on-screen UI, your damage numbers, all of them, like make this game look cleaner and feel like a polished game, right?
And what's interesting is you can turn a lot of that stuff off in the settings, but And before you get in the comments, like, comment, and subscribe. Before you get in the comments, like, oh, but you could turn it all off, which you can do. You can 100% do it. The way it comes once it's downloaded onto the game is how the developers intended you to play it, intended you to experience it. So the fact that you can turn it off, that's like saying like, oh yeah, they punched me in the face, but they also gave me a cup of ice. It's like, okay, like these no, it's not. It doesn't switch.
That's
the
great.
same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same thing.
Absolutely. You know, on top of that, the game is horribly short. What, 8 9 hours?
Was it like something like that, closer to 12, 15? I mean, if you really like stretched it, if you really just wanted to be a completionist, you could probably hit 20, 25. But again, this is a live service game where the goal is to have you spend hundreds upon maybe thousands of hours in this game. And that's not, I'm not going to say it's not possible, because anything's possible when you just believe it can happen. But it's so unlikely, dude.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think a longer campaign would have done this game so much better, because I mean, this is coming hot off the heels of the Arkham series, where it actually is finishing that series, which is a travesty, because those are fantastic, longer story driven games. So I think a longer campaign would have done really well.
So hold up, just to kind of put a number on it, we're thinking like 20 hours. We're thinking 20 to 40. I'm imagining.
I'd say like more like 20, 30. I feel like 40 would be stretching it.
I mean, how long was Arkham City?
Ooh, that's a
because I know you can 100% Arkham City, and that would take close to about 60 hours. And I know like Arkham Asylum was nothing. Arkham Origins, it was all right. But Arkham City was like, this is the definitive experience, so to speak.
Not as long as you think. So
ooh, how long?
12 and a half hours for just beelining the main objective. 45 hours to 100%.
45 hours to 100% feels right. So yeah. Okay. So oh, that's interesting. What if they just add a bunch of side stuff, right? And so yeah, because to 100% it, that means you're doing Riddler challenges. Yeah. That means you're doing races. That means you're doing you're probably getting perfects on all of these like little side missions where you got to beat everybody up, and it's like waves of enemies. So what if they just added a bunch of side stuff, because the story is already about 10, 12, maybe 15 hours long. What if they were just like, and objectives, side objectives?
I'm super about that. That sounds great. The only thing that I hope they don't do, because I think they're going to do that already to a degree. I hope we aren't just rinsing and repeating the content though for different areas. Like make different types of missions. You know, we need a little variety here. Please, dear God, not another escort mission.
Okay, you know what? That's better. Yeah. And then that kind of feeds into another point. Everybody watching at home, we actually talk about these episodes before we get to one another, just FYI. That brings us to your other point of the fact that y'all kind of if you're playing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, you kind of don't have a goal once you kill the Justice League, which means you don't have a reason to actually play the end game. So yeah, that leads us to a better goal.
Yeah, we need, what I think would help a lot is like a lot of the reason why there's damage numbers is because you get different equipment to, give you a slight little boost, but we're talking like fractions of a percent that are increasing it. Yeah. I mean, we're talking like 3% little damage buff, and it's like
8%.
Who the fuck cares? That does nothing for me. Like you're never gonna notice that. It's not like, yes, 4% more in my defense. Let's go.
I was just gonna say the craziest part about doing that and that kind of grind of like getting that perfect build is that it's a consistent like increase too, kind of like leveling up a character in any game ever. It's like, okay, I know once I get to this point, I level up, I might get a little bit of health. Even if I don't get a little bit of health, I definitely get more damage, more defense. It's that, but itemized. So now instead of saying I'm gonna get to level 15 to get a better attack and defense, it's like, okay, I'm gonna use the shotgun. When I use the shotgun, I'm gonna get better shells from a shotgun. And yeah, it becomes way more complicated than it needs to be because again, we're playing as super villains killing superheroes. And again, nobody cares.
So what I think would be really cool is if they added something that kind of like Borderlands has with skill trees, where like you can upgrade different
Yeah.
skills and work towards a build. You know, you can work on different abilities to make them do special stuff. I think that would be really fun. And on top of that, loot. Like
It looks kind of
Borderlands.
shitty.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think we need to improve that loot. That gives us a better goal. It gives us something to do when we're redoing this content. Destiny, great example. You know, you redo weekly stuff, you do raids, you do all this stuff for a chance to get a gun or re-roll weapons or armor or whatever. And you know, these each feel drastically different. They have different abilities, different stats and stuff that actually feel beneficial and feel different, monumental when you equip them. Where again, and you know, another game that's terrible with this, and this is not really a live service game, but it follows the same trend, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You know, like,
Ooh,
why am I
yeah.
adding 8% stealth in a fucking Assassin's Creed game? I should already
Yeah.
be max stealth. I'm an assassin. It's the whole point of the
I
game.
am the assassin.
You
Yes.
know, so it like all these little
Yeah.
small percentage games need to fuck off, honestly.
And then it's interesting that you bring up Valhalla because they immediately course corrected with Mirage, which was originally DLC for Valhalla. A lot of people don't even realize. And yeah, which is why I use the same engine and why a lot of the parkour is real awkward. But we're not talking about Mirage. We're talking about Suicide Squad Kill Justice League. But I'm noticing that as an overarching trend, we're kind of getting back to just regular skill trees. Which why did we depart from regular skill trees? Who the fuck said, you know what? I want it convoluted. I want it weird. I need 3% on everything. Everything is 3% increase. I don't care. I don't care how hard you work. 3%.
It's all because of the live service game formula, right? You know, a skill tree, once you max it out and you know you get to the bottom, you get the ultimate whatever,
Ultimate.
you're done, ultimate. Right? Like we've worked to the bottom. Like that is it. But with constant little marginal tiny upgrades, you'll never fully max out, so it'll always keep you coming back. And again, that's not putting the gameplay and fun first, which is the whole point of games. As I've said multiple times, like it puts money first, and I just hate that. And you know, as we're talking about this, not all live service games are bad. You know,
Right.
we have Fortnite. Like that is an excellent example of a game where they put the gameplay first and all the cosmetics are just kind of an after thing. I mean, yeah, it's a big part of it, but it's a lot of collaborations. It's a lot of stuff like that where, you know, but they each time they upgrade the map or they bring out these big updates with guns and stuff, they rework a lot of stuff. They're not just pushing that to the side, you know.
It's really impressive as far as like the revamps and everything.
And again, another
Yeah.
good one is Destiny. Like, again, they're really pushing out new content and it brings you back. Like, they're not lazy with it. There are ways to do it. It's not all bad. Warframe,
But
another one. Like, fantastic job. Sorry, keep going, Anthony.
No, it's okay. My only counterpoint, AJ, I have a counterpoint. Aren't you proud of me?
Ooh, a
My only
caveat.
counterpoint to that, I know a caveat. The only thing is that Fortnite has the Epic Games battery in their back, the $1 billion battery in the back. That was before they made $1 billion in cosmetics. Warframe, they have what? How long has Warframe been going? It feels like close to a decade at this point.
I think a little over a decade. I think it was early 2000s when it came out.
So yeah, so let's just say 10 years of a dedicated fan base, and not only a dedicated fan base, a team of people that probably at some point was a member of this dedicated fan base, so they know what the fans want. Yeah, and when you take that in consideration, and we look at Rocksteady, who up until this game was a single player action experience, and obviously they hired on. Every game studio hires on new talent to help with any of their projects. That's normal. But to support the game how they want to support the game, you damn near need to make another studio and not just reconstruct and restructure a single player one. But that's just me. I don't know. I'm not in game development. I just play them.
That's completely right though. Like if you look at Atlas and how they handle their games, like Shin Megami Tensei has their own studio. Persona has P Studio. The new Metaphor ReFantazio game that's coming out has its own like studio. Like they have different sections and different studios for specific games, and they build those studios within themselves. And look, they're eating right now. I mean, they're dropping so many huge games. I mean, you know, Persona 3 Reload just came out. We have 4 more Persona games rumored for the next like 2 years. We have
really? Wow.
Oh yeah, they're cranking shit out. And then we have that Metaphor game coming out at the end of this year. They have 2 other games that are unrelated to the Shin Megami Tensei series coming out. They're making the Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, which is a DLC that is as long as the original game, which is over 100 hours long. Like, I mean, it is insane. Like, they're just pumping shit out. Is that your way of
saying when that comes out, I'm just not going to see you for a while? Because in case you guys didn't know, AJ is our resident Persona as well as Shin Megami Tensei expert.
Well, I've never played Shin Megami Tensei. It's on my list.
You only play Persona?
Yeah, yes. I'm a bandwagon.
It's okay. No, it's okay.
I've actually really, like, I played 5. I played through it twice, and I played through a part of a 3rd run. I just kind of do that in the background. I'm almost through 4, and then I'm going to go to 3 Reload. I haven't played 3 at all, so it's really the only 2 I've played. Absolutely in love with those games. They're phenomenal. I highly recommend to anyone that even remotely likes JRPGs or RPGs in general. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Let's get back to the point.
We're here to talk about. I'm so sorry. I got you.
No, you're good. So Suicide Squad. We have a few other ideas on how we can improve this shit sandwich.
One of them being adding a PvP element, which I think is really fucking fun, which would tie back into the whole idea of having a build, right? And we were talking about this before, but basically, in my mind, again, I don't make games, I just play them. In my mind, you could have sort of like not a tower defense. What am I thinking of? Basically, you would go to a point, and the point would open up a portal. In this portal, the goal would be to get to the other side of the portal, destroy whatever on the other side. However, the other team has the same idea and the same goal. So you can send some people over there, do that, destroy that over there, and get back to your side to defend it, and or just do it really fast and get back before anyone even notices. Or y'all could just kind of fight it out and may the better man win, which would tie back into builds, because a better build Deadshot might just be able to fly higher, or maybe they just have just stronger guns, but this Deadshot might just be quicker and just have a build that's just like, I don't need to be stronger than you, I'm gonna just fly around in circles and pepper you with these little tiny guns.
And you know, there's so many ways they could do that. It could be a race, it could be fighting each other directly, it could, you know, there's tons of different ways to do that, and I think it'd be a cool change of pace to bring people back, because PvE in itself, even though I prefer it over PvP, isn't a great way to keep people coming back over and over again unless you are constantly dripping content. Again, look at Destiny.
That almost went a really hard left turn. I'm so glad you said content. When you said dripping and you took a pause, I got real nervous, and I heard a C, and I was like, we gotta see where this is going.
But yeah, I think that's such a great idea, because the current landscape of the game, if they just, you know, I know they're going to release more content, but I think it's going to be more of the same, and that's not going to bring people in. It's going to be a waste of everyone's time and money.
I don't know about everyone. Someone's gonna pay for the skin, because they did announce that they actually are releasing a new playable character very soon. The Joker, which I'm actually very interested in. I kind of want to see how they make the Joker useful in Metropolis. But I mean, they've done it with every other character. None of these characters in the Suicide Squad base game should make sense. But the fact that we're bringing the Joker over, I was like, I gotta see it before I hate it, because I think it's actually a really good idea. Yeah,
I think it's cool. It's odd because Joker is already dead in this universe, so I wonder how they're gonna do that. Something I'm actually really curious to see what they're going to do with this movement. Because like we said, everyone has really cool movement, right? Like King Shark, you know, has this big jump and slam and stuff like that for movement. Harley Quinn pretty much is like Spider-Man with a grappling hook, you know. Deadshot, it flies around, whatever. It's like, I wonder, like, is are they gonna have like Joker be like a fucking Junkrat from Overwatch, and he's be like jumping off of explosions, or like,
Good.
I wonder what they're gonna
Good. I
do.
mean, you could do a thing where, yeah, you could do that, and maybe you can charge it up and like fly up higher, and then like
Mm-hmm.
maybe he has like a laughing gas jetpack. I don't know. I would have to see it because the way they incorporated movement with the rest of the characters literally made me go, maybe, like we are just being mean to this game because this is actually really innovative and interesting.
Again, the base was there, fantastic. It was ruined halfway through development. No one can convince me otherwise.
Thank you, AJ, for letting me know what I cannot do as far as convincing you about Suicide Squad killed. Matter of fact, somebody get on your high horse, get in these comments right now, and tell AJ why he's wrong, and I will personally like it, and you will get on the Instagram Shorts, just so you know. Instagram Shorts, no, YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, everywhere you're going. We're making you famous, baby.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, because we're famous already, right? Um,
Exactly. Thank you, AJ. Get it already. Jeez.
and PvP can lead into kind of a PvP VE kind of thing.
Hmm.
Kind of like Gambit from Destiny. I know this is a sore subject for a lot of Destiny fans because Gambit's could have been done better. I actually really enjoyed it.
Way
I
better.
think it's a genius idea. People did not like it. But what it is for people that don't know is you are versing another team 4v4, and you kill enemies. They drop these motes of light. You pick them up. You can pick up to 15, and you go deposit them. If you die before you deposit them, you lose them all, right? And the more, like, when you get 5, 10, and then 15, it'll do like a small, medium, and large blocker they'll send to the other
Hmm.
team where they can't deposit motes until they kill that enemy. And so the larger it is, the harder it is to kill, right? And then once you get to 100, you spawn a raid boss, essentially. I mean, it's not, you don't have to do anything special to kill it. Just a big, beefy boy, right?
Big boy.
And you have to kill him before the other person. And if you die, it heals him, actually. And so where a lot of the more PvP comes in, because of course that's a race like we talked about before, you could take these portals and travel to the enemy side. You're buffed up because it's just you alone, and you try to get as many kills as you can because that hurts their progress, right? And so they kill you, you go back to the other side, or timer runs out, you go back to your side. And so there's a little PvP element, and so you have to decide whether, to go to the other side or to stay here or whatnot. And so I think that'd be something that's really good in Suicide Squad where, you have to decide whether you go fight the other enemy or not. And I think they could switch it up. Instead of having a portal, it's open at all times. Your team can attack them. They can attack you at any time. You could the whole game just focus on killing them, but then you won't gain any progress on your own mission. So I think that could be a really cool balance of back and forth and how to do it. I think that could be really cool competitive gameplay.
It could. I mean, it sounds cool and competitive. Obviously, again, like with Gambit, it's probably going to be a thing where you got to work out the kinks. It's not going to
Mm-hmm.
be perfect day one, but neither was the game. So, I mean, at this point, y'all just got to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what literally sticks. But that would lead us to another thing that we were talking about, a boss rush, because boss fights in this game kind of suck. Sorry, they do. And but imagine fighting 3 or 4 of them at the same time. Things get a lot more interesting.
I also have a crazy concept for the people at Rocksteady.
Oh, oh God, here we go. Let me get comfortable.
Don't make your bosses suck.
Oh, 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 oh. Revolutionary. Give this man a Nobel Prize right
Whoa.
now.
I mean, the Flash quite literally has count 'em, two moves. That's it.
And the
He
final
just repeats
boss
them.
is just the Flash.
Yes, and that's one of the things that they're going to redo because they said at the end of the game, spoilers, by the way, warning for all you that care, that there's 7 more Brainiacs to kill in other dimensions or some shit like that.
It's 13.
And
Well, let's keep going.
13, okay. So that means at least three of those are going to be, or 4, I forget how many other bosses in the game, are just going to be reskinned boss fights from all the other Justice League members. I don't know about the other ones, so hopefully those are original. But those will probably be reskinned boss fights of other boss fights that they're going to release. But at that point, that just shows the plan is to keep rinsing and repeating. So yeah, let's fix the bosses up, and then a boss rush should be really cool.
Okay, I got an idea. I have a very, very small epiphany. I'm gonna make it a very small tangent because I know you hate my tangents, especially when you have to edit them. What if the Brainiacs in different dimensions took over those different dimensions because they're different members of the Justice League? So, for example, instead of Brainiac having Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, everybody we know, what if Ezzo got Booster Gold, uh, Guy
Oh.
Gardner, and instead of John, we've got Guy Gardner, Booster Gold, and I'm trying to think of somebody really. Oh, question, easy, boom. So what if Brainiac has these three, and then you can pick the other two? It doesn't even matter. And now they're just different bosses altogether that you only access by getting to the end game.
I love that
And so
idea.
now yeah, so now you go to another dimension. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill this Brainiac, and then the question is just like, Brainiac, they're upon us, and like just something crazy happens, and now you're like, okay, what's going on now?
And at that point, I'm fine with a shorter campaign. We can get rid of point three because the at that point you're almost resetting it. So keep it as long or maybe even a bit shorter because we don't want to repeat the same story beats, all the time. But at that point we can then just go, oh, wipe this one, get to that Brainiac. And it is a little bit of rinse and repeat in that way, but you still can make the missions different throughout that, and you still have the interesting banter. So I think that could work, especially in a live service setting. You gotta do a little bit to make it more unique than just that base concept. But hey, they had a great base concept here, so let's evolve on that. So there you guys go, another good base concept for you to hopefully not fuck up this time.
So let's see. We've talked about the boss rush, the PvP slash PvPvE. That's only a little complicated to say in my weird boy mouth. But that leads us to something that we kind of touched on earlier, the addition of new characters, because we know we're getting the Joker. The Joker is coming.
Mm-hmm.
We know that. We understand that. They've told us that. They've announced it. But who else is coming? Because boy, howdy, do we have ideas. And I'm so excited because the potential is limitless.
Yeah, so I think more playable characters within the Suicide Squad would be a blast. Someone that I think would be really fun would be Mr. Freeze. I think you could have really fun movement with him, with like making bridges and shit with ice and kind of going wherever you want. It essentially feel like you're flying because you can just kind of control it wherever. But like, and then other people could walk on it behind you and stuff. Like you could do some really cool stuff with that. You could have him launch off with like a huge plume of ice. Like you could do some really cool stuff with him on top of just cool abilities. I'm gonna throw out Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Free. I mean, you can call him Mr. Ice. Fuck it. Why not? It's a different dimension, AJ. It could be what you want to be. My personal favorite pick, and this is a character who, if you're a fan of the comics, you probably are familiar with in some capacity. But Mr. Terrific. And if you don't know who Mr. Terrific is, listen. Mr. Terrific is essentially Batman, but from the south side of Metropolis. Yes, that's canon. Kiss my ass. He's from the south side of Metropolis, and he's, I think, in the comics, like the smartest man alive, and so he has this technology that is kind of like magic. It sort of does whatever he wants it to do. They only call him when they have like the especially intensive and complicated problems. And Mr. Terrific is just a black guy from the south side of Metropolis, and he just lives there. You don't have to make him a Suicide Squad member. He literally is just at home, and Brainiac's attacking. He would be like, yeah, I should do something about that.
See, and I like the idea that, and you could insert really any side hero here that isn't part of the Justice League. Have him be actually in the Suicide Squad. Have him do some sort of like, not like a crime, like an accidental like he forgot to file his taxes or some shit, and now he happened to be in jail for like 2-3 days or whatever it is, or he got too drunk. I don't know. Fucking figure out something, and they're like, you know what? You're on the Suicide Squad. We need your help. And he's like, all right, sure, I'm about this. I think that'd
That's
be
funny.
hilarious.
Pretty funny. Like like Mr. Terrific, like they just catch him with like a dime bag of weed, and it's just like we can like act like we're gonna take you to jail. We're not, but you could also just be in the Suicide Squad for like a weekend.
Yeah, we won't take you to jail, so it's not public if you're just like joining the Suicide Squad. It's like, all right, sure. That'd be a blast. We also, I think someone else that could be cool is Poison Ivy.
Yes, adult Poison Ivy,
Yes,
because
adult.
Poison Ivy's like 4 in the game. I don't know. Do they explain that? I don't remember if they do.
Here's the thing: it doesn't matter because now we're in the multiverse. So pull her
Anything
in.
can happen.
It don't. It
Adult
doesn't matter.
Poison. Matter of
The
fact,
Joker's come back. He's dead. We can
listen. Okay. What if, and this is another bigger opportunity, James Gunn, let's hear me, all right? We haven't talked on Twitter ever, but get at me. What if, specifically because we're pulling from the multiverse, what if this is the version of Poison Ivy in that Harley Quinn show?
Ooh, I
What
like
if it's
that.
like that version,
Yeah.
and like it has the same voice actor, and she's just like, oh, this is stupid. Like she's just like, what is going on? And like
Yeah.
she's still just like being a problem, and just like it was just she's the whole time just like, oh wow, this y'all do this often, like what?
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe like she doesn't even like, she doesn't get imprisoned like everyone in Suicide Squad is, right? Like they're all jail cell members. Maybe she's just like, you know what? This looks like fun. I'd like to kill the Justice League. I hate them, like. So
Yeah,
I'm just here for it,
Not to mention the obvious one. This is actually one that you brought up. Peacemaker, because that just makes sense. He's in Mortal Kombat. You can't get in a Suicide Squad game. I call bullshit.
I think it'd be hilarious. Again, you can kind of do like a same thing as Mr. Terrific. He's just like fucked up. Now he's here, and he's all right. Like, and I think he would bring like, there is humor in this game a lot, but I think he would fit so well into the humor.
It's a funny game.
His humor, I think, would fit fantastically. I think he'd be a great addition.
No. Yeah, and then Peacemaker actually is a member of the Suicide Squad. If you saw the Suicide Squad, the sequel to Suicide Squad, so he already is a member. So he could literally just be like, we're deploying you, Peacemaker, and he's like, my duty, and just runs in and is himself. With Mr. Terrific, who literally is just like, listen, like, hey, I'm just here because they said they would drop my weed charge. Like, I'm just here. You got Mr. Freeze that's just like my dead wife, and you got Poison Ivy that's like, who the fuck? What?
Yes.
That's perfect. That's the game I wish I got. Honestly, that's hilarious.
Oh yeah, and like that would have been fantastic. So along with more playable characters, I'd like to see more enemy types. As we touched on before, there's only 3. That's ridiculous. Let's have a little diversity here. Like let's have a fucking, I don't know, elephant with acne on it, and he's running around causing havoc.
Oh, that could be a fun like bonus mission. Like you got to clear the Metropolis Zoo. It's just a bunch of elephants. It's just a bunch of just animals.
Just in general, like boom, easy, and like a lot of them you could just reskin if you want to take the lazy route. The tiger, the lion, the panther, they all can work the same. At least it feels different, and all you need to do if you want to change stuff, change a little bit of the damage numbers and like speed. Boom, now they feel at least a little different, They do
feel a little different. And then that kind of ties into another point that we both kind of came to agreement on. Have type advantages, dude. Kind of like Pokemon, how water is effective against rock, for example. Make the sharpshooters more effective against like melee people, right? Or make the melee more effective against the sharpshooter, so you got to actually go in to do the damage, right? Like just give me a reason to play as someone who isn't my favorite. I want to play as Mr. Terrific.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like right now you have your favorite and that's it. You've no reason to swap, right? I think that'd be cool to be like, all right, like, we're for this mission, we got to do like this setup or this, I can't think of the right word, but like combination essentially of heroes to be like most optimal, right? I think that would be really, really cool. Like it kind of reminds me of like, how, like you said, Pokemon works where, we can add a fire enemy. We can be fantastic. Do like some fire, like go to Hawaii and grab some fucking fire dancers. Go to Taiwan or whatever.
Universe. Just let Brainiac control a dragon and just call it a day.
Fantastic, and then if you're like Deadshot going against a dragon, all right, guns might not do as much, but King Shark's gonna fuck him up,
bite it. There you go.
And then what you can do is like he can weaken him for then like Deadshot to come in and hit the crit spot or whatever like that. And you're working a team comp. You work as a composition, and then you can work together to make it work. Kind of like again Destiny, how raids work. You each have your own roles. and you get to go and do your roles, and then you all work together on the bus, right? Like, that would be so fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Again, just reasons to play as more characters, reasons to actually upgrade. Just reasons. Just reasons to play the game other than just ha 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 Suicide Squad. Like it gets old fast. And not only does the idea get old fast, the story elements get old a little fast. It's so ideal to just, make a complete game, which is something that we were in disagreement on when we first met. Do you remember that? You were just like, all games come out unfinished, and I was like, I don't know if that's true, and this doesn't help me at all. So
okay, I don't know if I exactly said all. I might have. I'm not disagreeing, but a lot of games in today's current climate do, and I still stand by that. Not all. I mean, again, you have your Elden Rings, fantastic. Dragon Dogma 2, it's not out yet, but it looks like it's gonna be finished. Armored Core, a lot of Nintendo stuff, main stuff. Their side shit, that's a whole different can of worms.
I was gonna say, yeah, Nintendo is a lot more consistent, but also kind of like when they first opened up the eShop to anybody and like anything was on there. But also, you got games like Dragon's Dogma. Here's a fun fact about Dragon's Dogma 2: it's running on the same RE engine as the Resident Evil remakes.
Oh, really?
Which I didn't think that engine was that robust, but it is. Especially when you see the combat.
It's a lot of it's not up to the engine. I mean, the engine's like the tools that you have. It's up to the developer to make the most out of those tools. So, you see all this stuff all the time where it's like people make some crazy stuff out of some pretty basic engines. I mean, like, look at Unity, right? Like, fucking damn near every phone game you see Unity while it's booting up. But then there are some big AAA games that are on Unity. That doesn't make it a bad platform. That just makes it easier for certain things. Like if I'm going to make a 3D open world game, well, yeah, I'm going to go to Unreal before I'm going to go to Unity. But if I'm going to make like a 2D platformer, I'm going to go to Unity first because it's just easier. But that doesn't mean it can't be done on either one, It's still
you can
possible.
Really do it back and forth.
I mean,
I don't know what engine that Suicide Squad is running on, but I know it's not the Arkham engine. I know it. Also, fun fact about Arkham City: the reason that game still looks good today, game came out almost a decade ago, like 9 years of some change. They actually worked with Unreal. They worked with Unreal. I don't think they got access to the source code exactly, but they were able to tweak it in such a way to optimize their skills and their skill set. I'm sorry. To actually optimize it to make it look as good as it does, and I don't think they did that for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That's just a guesstimation.
No. So I want to address kind of not really developers because I understand a lot of it's not their fault. I don't want to drill
it's not your fault. We love
it's not their
developers.
decisions. Yes, they're doing what they're told. They're doing their best. They don't want to make a game that comes out poorly. Like, they want to make a good game. Otherwise, why would they get into this? So with that being said, I do want to address kind of the gaming industry, the people behind it as a whole, in the sense that I'm all for live service games if they make sense. Again, Fortnite, great. Destiny, great. Random one that just came to my mind, Foam Stars. Like, that works phenomenally for that. Like,
Jeez.
there are. I haven't even played it. That just came to my head for some random fucking reason.
I guess we need to play Foam Stars at this point.
Those games are built ground up for live service. If the game is intended for live service from the get-go, and we make the gameplay around that, all the concepts, everything around that from the get-go, fantastic. It's gonna come out great. Apex, another one. Excuse me. But instead, a lot of the times we get these games that feel like they should be these either single player or couch co-op experiences that are supposed to be these just like play through it, put it down, maybe pick it up a few laters, those kind of experiences, but they just don't print as much money is the issue. And I'm just asking the gaming development sphere to please, if you're going to make a live service game, make the game from the ground up live service.
And then also, to add to that, I want to say something. Single player experiences are proven to be a lot more profitable than maybe they once were. Because when Call of Duty, oh my goodness, I'm throwing it back. When Call of Duty dominated sales every year for like almost a decade straight, it probably didn't make as much sense to go the single player game because the live service element was the thing. People only play multiplayers on Call of Duty now, which is
That was
fine. It's okay.
the well, and granted, that was during the online boom. That was during
Hmm.
PS3, Xbox 360, or yeah, PS2, the GameCube, the Wii, the original Xbox all had online
Yeah,
services. Some of them
it's not the
technically.
same.
No, it was very cheap. It was the first edition. They weren't ready for it, but it was a good tester. This, like, we
Hmm.
were ready for it in the PS3 and Xbox 360 era, and so I like there was it almost felt like the change from 2D to 3D games, where it was like, oh,
Basically,
2D games aren't good anymore, get rid of them, no one wants them, and now we're seeing them come back, where it's like, oh no, people do like 2D experiences, like they have their place. Same thing with single player experiences. It felt like they were thrown to the side. Nope, they're not going to make money. No one wants to play them really, except for this niche little crowd. No, there is a big crowd for it. It's just no one wants to play the shit that you're slopping out sometimes. You make it quality, and quality doesn't mean amazing graphics or the super long game. It just fun. It's a game.
a few kind of quick examples of that, and then we can kind of wrap it up because can't get a better dismount. AJ, you've done it for me. Thank you. Shadow of Mordor, prime example.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty much a solely single player experience. Then the sequel kind of implemented some online elements. Pal World, duh. You can kind of argue the Dark Souls series a little bit. I mean, obviously you can get help from your friends, but it's designed with just, hey,
Yep.
it's a metaphor for your mom and you kill everything. What else? I mean, there's so many. Enshroud just came out recently.
Mm-hmm.
Pacific Drive just came out recently. Two smaller games. Also, the Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor games.
Shoot,
Like
even
there
look
are,
at Super Mario Wonder. I really thrown it
oh
back
my
to like
God.
classics. That sold like hotcakes. Pokemon games sell like fuck. Now that's a
Animal
bad
Crossing.
example. Animal Crossing, Pokemon games are a bad example because they're shit now. But
Here we go.
there is a lot of good games out there, and another example of it done poorly. Marvel's Avengers could have been
Oh God.
fantastic. It should have printed money like no other, and it fell into the same
Yeah, it was,
trap
yeah.
as Suicide Squad. And then guess what they did? They fixed it with Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a great game. It's not a
Great game.
live service game. But people were so scared because of Avengers, they didn't get it, and so it didn't do well because of that. But I guarantee you, if Avengers didn't do what they did, Guardians of the Galaxy would have sold amazingly. It has no
Yeah,
reason
no, if
not to.
Guardians of the Galaxy came out first in anticipation for Marvel's Avengers, it would probably it
Uh,
might have won Game of the Year.
yeah, I agree.
Oh, you had to
I thought
get
you
the
said
sequels
it. I
right?
thought you said Guardians of the Galaxy came out first, and I was like,
Like, no,
I
it
was
did
like,
not. Which is why it's
no.
sold real bad.
Yeah,
Sold
yeah,
real bad. But
exactly.
if it
Because
came
no
out
one
in
trusts them.
anticipation for Marvel's Avengers, yeah, no, if it came out before Marvel's Avengers, it might have won Game of the Year that year. I don't remember what came out that year, but Guardians of the Galaxy would have went from
It
no
might have been
attention to all of
competing
the
with
attention.
Spider-Man, so probably not. But because
I mean,
Avengers came, I think, in 2019. I think Spider-Man came out in
right.
2018. So probably.
So yeah,
not,
like right
but
at the end.
it would have been a contender. I will, in every way, it would have been a contender. Just because
I
Spider-Man
mean,
is.
it also would have had to go up against God of War, and any
Yeah.
year God of War makes a game, it wins. Why? I don't do. Who do you think Sony pays? Do you think Sony goes up to not Phil Spencer, not Todd Howard, goes up to
Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley. No, I was gonna say Ryan McCaffrey. Anyway, Jeff Keighley. Do you think Sony goes up to Jeff Keighley and is like, hey, listen, we spent a lot of money on this game, and we're willing to spend a little bit more. All you gotta do, just that piece of paper, put the game title, you announce it, everybody wins, everybody's happy, and then you get another house in Cuomo.
Yeah. So thing is the God of War games are a really well polished game, really well made, and it is a beautiful piece of media. As a whole, it is a gorgeous piece of art. Just from the mechanics are all so fluid and tight, and nothing goes wrong. You never see glitches hardly ever in that. Yes, there are some, but like every game has
Hardly.
but like I mean like never see anything about it. Like it is so polished, the music phenomenal, the voice acting phenomenal, the cinematics, the camera, I mean everything is just so
Yeah, the fact that God of War
done.
remake is one shot is really cool.
Yeah, exactly. So I I get it. I now we're getting back to these last Game Awards. I don't think it should have been Tears of the Kingdom, just because Tears of the Kingdom, what they did mechanically is fucking bonkers, and like God of War Ragnarok was a wonderful like second game, a wonderful sequel. It didn't do, and it advanced it, you know. It didn't advance it nearly to the degree.
Breath of the Wild.
Nearly to the degree of Tears of the Kingdom. So, anyways, you know, that's history at this point. We've already talked about it. But
yeah, and we can keep talking about it. But we are getting close to time, everybody. We're trying to respect everyone's time here. AJ, do you have anything that you want to tell the people? We can go on more tangents about God of War because it's probably the most movie-like game, but that's not what games are.
And really, that's Sony's like MO with their exclusives at this point. Between, you know, Last of Us, God of War, Spider-Man, they're all
we can blame Uncharted
experiences. Yeah, we can. But like, I'm not complaining because at least they have. It feels like more of a unified IP a bit with that. Because you know, like Nintendo, like you play a Nintendo game and you're like, that's a Nintendo game. You know, you play like a Microsoft exclusive and you're like, that was a game and I enjoyed it. And then Sony is like starting to feel like that
premiere,
you know,
like
that
is
movie, that cinema quality.
Of.
Yes, the peak of spending on games and what you can get out of that. Anyways, with all that being said, as always, it's awesome seeing you guys. Thank you for tuning in. The few of you that did, we love
all few of you,
every one of you. Yes, please keep tuning in. We will keep posting videos for your guys' entertainment. With that, Anthony, do you have anything else?
Just that we love you. Like, comment, and subscribe. I will always tell you to like, comment, and subscribe. It's a gaming podcast. Get us in that gaming algorithm. And yeah, we love you, and we can't wait to see more of you. AJ, do the thing.
Stay mediocre.